texts here now from Stephen Kinnock, Labour MP, a member of the Exiting the EU Select Committee. I don't suppose it was a shock today what the Prime Minister announced. When do you think you as a Member of Parliament might get a chance to vote?
Well, how long is a piece of string, frankly? She didn't give any clarity today. She only said she knows her absolute deadline is the 21st of January because of the legislation we passed back in the summer. I mean, I think it's unthinkable that she forces the country and Parliament and our entire economy to go into a sort of state of suspended animation until the 21st of January. So perhaps she'll go to Brussels to this summit and try to extract some sort of change to the withdrawal agreement. But the EU has made it crystal clear that it's not up for any significant changes to the withdrawal agreement. So it just feels she continues to flog this dead horse.
Do you agree with Lord Heseltine's analysis that a vote of no confidence at this stage would be won by Theresa May?
Yes, but I still think we should table it because I think it is now our constitutional duty to make it absolutely clear.
Or to have a pointless vote.
We have lost. Well, it's not really pointless because I think it is about making a statement that, you know, we are giving the Conservatives on her benches and the DUP the opportunity to act in the national interest and to make it absolutely clear that we no longer have confidence as a House of Commons. My personal view is we've got very little chance of ever winning a motion of no confidence because turkeys don't vote for Christmas. But sometimes the constitutional imperative is more important than just sort of party political point scoring. It's actually a constitutional point that we have to make, that when you have a government where its authority is draining away every day, its legitimacy also drains away, and that's why I think we should table the motion of no confidence as soon as possible.
Do you have any thoughts as to why Labour isn't much further ahead in the opinion polls?
Well, I think when it comes to Brexit, you know, we have set out the what, but we have not set out the how. We've set out the ends that we want to see through our 6 tests and by saying we want a customs union and a strong single market deal, but we haven't set out the means. For me, the means is Norway Plus. I have been advocating for 2 years now.
Norway doesn't want to allow that, though, does it?
Well, the Norwegian Prime Minister said last week that if that's what the United Kingdom wants, we can make it happen. The Icelandic Foreign Minister was on Newsnight a couple of weeks ago saying he would welcome the UK into the EEA. So I actually think there's, of course, you know, they're waiting to see what happens, and Brussels and everybody else is saying, we've got to get this deal through. But as soon as the deal has been rejected, then I think we've got the route is open to a sensible, pragmatic, bridge-building form of Brexit, and one which, by the way, I think commands a cross-party parliamentary majority. I'm working closely with a number of Conservative MPs on this. I wrote a piece with Nick Bowles, Tory MP, in the Sunday Times yesterday. So I think that there's it's time now to put our narrow party political differences aside and to act in the national interest.
I was asking about Labour's poll standing because I just wonder why, if this Prime Minister is so useless when it comes to Brexit, is constantly, very publicly changing her mind and being, to many people's eyes, humiliated on a regular basis. Is there a problem then when you look at the other side of the House of Commons and look at your leader, that for a lot of people, they just balk at the idea of Jeremy Corbyn being Prime Minister?
When it comes to Brexit, I'll be absolutely frank. I have been frustrated by the fact that we've set out our wish list of what we want to achieve, but we haven't given a roadmap for how you get from A to B. For me, the 52-48 result was always a mandate to move house, but to stay in the same neighbourhood. A soft Brexit, which gets us out of the political institutions, out of the project of ever closer union, but keeping the strongest and most constructive economic relationship, and basically a common market for the 21st century. Yeah. And that, I think, it's a real pity that we haven't set Norway Plus out. And I think if we had, you're absolutely right. We should be 20 points ahead in the opinion polls, because this is the most incompetent, shambolic government in living memory.
And I'm just suggesting that maybe it's not so much about, in addition to perhaps not laying out the policies as you'd see fit, it's something about, and forgive me for personalising, it's something about Jeremy Corbyn. A lot of people who might be Labour supporters or who are so fed up with Theresa May they would vote for Labour. There's just something about him that's stopping your party being much more successful.
We had a tremendous result in the elections in 2017. Tremendous in the sense that we started that campaign 20 points behind in the opinion polls, but we had a good manifesto, lots of sensible social democratic policies, and that is what people are looking for. Unfortunately, since then, British politics has become absolutely defined by Brexit. And if you haven't got a clear story to tell on Brexit, it undermines your overall rating in the opinion polls, I think. So, it's impossible to see where people's views of a leader start and end, and people's views of Brexit start and end. The two are completely intertwined. If we had had a clearer story to tell on Brexit, which I have always said should be an EEA-based Brexit, I think that would have put us in the driving seat. It would have shown that we're not just an opposition that is holding the government to account and calling them out for their incompetence. We're also a government in waiting with a clear, realistic and constructive proposal for the future. Unfortunately, that second bit has been missing. And I hope that over the coming days and weeks, we will be able to plug that gap and start telling a story that people can buy into.
Stephen Kinnock, Labour MP, thank you. Much more on this.